Hi, it's me, Rasheed Ogunlaru, coach, speaker and author, and welcome to this, the July episode of Catch the Coach, your newsletter for inner peace and fulfillment. And our theme this month is 2020 Part 2 Change. 2020 Part 2 Change, because here we are in July and we're now into the second half of the year. And it's been a year of tumultuous upheaval in many ways. As we all know, from issues like the coronavirus and the impact that's had on societies, the economy, people's health and well-being, sad lives that have passed, and the impact on everything from the economy through to education and the arts, and everyone's day-to-day lives and their relationships, and the knock-on effect on what it's meant in terms of technology. But also the knock-on effect that particularly that we've had that when we've been in what's called lockdown, where people have been in isolation, some of the other impacts, including the environmental impacts, the less flight, some of the benefits that we've seen in terms of less traffic, in terms of the air quality and so on. So there is this theme around change. You know, many of us have been forced to make all sorts of changes to our lifestyles, home life, how we work, working lives, flexibility, technology and so on. It's brought to the fore all sorts of issues, opportunities, and also inequalities, be it financially and things with like access to technology, broadband and all of these kind of things. So it's been a time of a lot of change. Also in the world scene, it continues to be that way. I mean, and some of the things that have most evoked reaction and concern include the murder of George Floyd and the Black Lives Matter campaign and work, and that realization that there are so many inequalities that remain, that many of us will face in our lives and so on, and that actually all of this is everybody's concern. You know, that is everybody's concern. It's the pain and the problems challenged by anyone or any group, that we all play our own responsibility in that. And so I really wanted to make my theme for this month around change, because as we step into part 2, what has changed and what needs to change. And my invitation is, of course, as with all things, to start with you. What's changed? What's changed for you personally? What's changed for you professionally? Maybe like many of us, you've really reflected on where you are in your life, in your career, in your relationships, and what's really important to you. Maybe like many, you've reconnected to real loved ones, or connected even more deeply to loved ones. Maybe it is that you have far more of appreciation for others. Maybe it is that you've been checking on others far more. And maybe it is that you've been forced to connect in all sorts of new ways. So what has changed? What's been the learning from that change? And what needs to change? In terms of your mindset, in terms of your habits, in terms of your working life or your business. It might be vast. I invite you to pause this. I invite you to sit with this. I invite you to write things down. I invite you to really meditate on this. One of the changes can be, as we challenges can be, that as we step out of this lockdown, this easing down, it's very incredible how short the memory can be sometimes, and then for things to kind of sort of return to a kind of a similar thing as they were before, although they can't quite return to how they were before because of those who are no longer here, those major impacts that maybe that you've had in your own life or in terms of your work, or those loved ones where maybe that they may have had a job before they don't. What's the learning? What is it that for you needs to change on that personal level? And let's start with the things that you feel that you actually can control personally, in terms of your routine, in terms of what it is you're wanting to do with your life, in terms of what's really important to you in life. For me, it's always important and valuable to start with gratitude here. I mean, remember at the beginning of when COVID-19 first hit and there was a lot of uncertainty, suddenly was that real appreciation, first and foremost, for this gift of life and for those people who we share this gift with. And I think that's really, really important. It's so important not to lose track of that, not to forget that. But in what way also can you be part of the change? You know, what's the role and what's the responsibility that you have? What's the part that you can play? Allyship, supporting others, giving voice to the voice of other people who don't have the voice. Starting off with actually also listening to others, caring about other people who have a different point of view. Deep listening. For me, two things that really are essential are the raising of our levels of consciousness and our raising of our level of compassion. You may have heard me talk about this many times, but our consciousness, the awareness, who am I, where am I at? And sometimes we become the thing I want to say here is that it's important for us to move from being self-conscious, oh, I can't do this, can't do that, I'm afraid of saying this, I'm afraid of that, to conscious of self. Who am I? How am I connecting? And the consciousness of all the other souls who we share this planet with, have that consciousness of them. And where they're at, because otherwise sometimes I can be so consumed in my own experience and how something's going to affect me, I forget about my neighbour, I forget about my friend, I forget about my boss or my colleague who's also hurting, I forget about the person with a different gender, race, background, or whatever in mine, because they have a different experience, different level of ability, different take on life, different faith, different circumstances, different age. So then this leads us to point 2, compassion, the deepening of our compassion. I love this saying, is there room in your heart? Can you find the room in your heart? And that's the thing I invite you to think about. How much room do you have in your heart? When something comes along you don't like or something's annoyed you or what have you, do you have room in your heart? Are you aware that they might also be hurting, struggling? And in many ways, yeah, that does put more of an onus or an emphasis on you. But there might be some people who genuinely, their experience is so challenging and their day-to-day lives are so challenged that they may not at that moment have room in their heart. So I think on this consciousness and this compassion journey, we need to be mindful of that. So I think that's all I want to say about that, but just to really invite you to first of all reflect, what's your learning been, what are the changes that you've made, but also what are the changes that you can continue to make in your life, in terms of your routine, in terms of your working and so on, what are the changes that you're wanting to make. There might be all sorts of things related to the environment, related to your well-being, related to your work, related to your relationships, related to how you relate to everybody else on this planet. There's an opportunity. I just want to share a couple of other things of events that are coming up. First of all, on Saturday 11th of July, 12 noon till 1:30 BST, British Summer Time, I'm running my latest of my Inner Retreat series. These are a series of retreats which I run with Lee and Justin from Red Lotus Sustainable Human Being, who are part of my Soul Trader Retreats team. So those of you who've read the Soul Trader book or know about the Soul Trader Retreats, they are my retreats team. We run retreats overseas, but we're now running hour and a half taster retreats to give people that opportunity to pause, to breathe, to connect. It includes silence, mindfulness and meditation, some gentle movement and so on, just to keep us moving and connecting, and soothing talks. Our theme on Saturday the 11th is around connect. And so this is about that journey from isolation to reconnection, to ourselves, to life itself, and to everyone else. If you happen to be watching this before Tuesday the 7th of July, 2 online free webinars I'm running, Soul Trader, which is my retreat, my webinar for those of you who are on the journey of being your own boss. How is it that you're able to build a business that you and customers will love from your heart? That takes place at 10 a.m. Again, all these are BST times, 10 a.m. till 11 a.m. And the same day, I'm running my Networking for Success Express event, which is all about how is it you can network effectively, authentically, and nerve-free, both in person, but also increasingly remotely, as we're going to need to do. And those sessions are being run also in August, so I can give you those dates. The 12th of August and the 12th of August, both are being run at the same times of 10 a.m. for Soul Trader and at 2 p.m. for Networking for Success. So join me there, and I'll post that. You'll see the details, the links below this on this newsletter or online. If you're watching this on my YouTube, you can click into see the dialogue box, and you'll find links to those there. So those are a couple of the upcoming events. I want to thank everyone who's been part of the Coaching Conversation series that we've been running for the Coaching Academy. I'm one of their associate trainers, and Skidmore and myself have been running a series of these conversations, giving coaches that opportunity to stop and explore issues that are really important. One runs on confidence and resilience, and another one on well-being and mental health. Keep your eye out for the end of July, where there will be details announced of 2 more, particularly which relate to the workplace and the corporate workplace, and the topics that we're hoping to run around coaching and leadership, and one around equality, diversity and race. So those will be really, really powerful sessions. Keep your eye on them. We've had hundreds of people on those particular sessions. I don't know what the ending quote I'm going to post is, but the one that you may have heard me say and share quite a lot, and that I've posted a number of times, but I think it's so relevant, so I'll share it again, is that everything boils down to love and compassion, or its absence. And I want to share another one. This is a paraphrased one of mine. Sometimes all the tools, technology and techniques will fail you. Then at last, you misuse your heart. Sometimes all the tools, technology and techniques will fail you. Then at last, misuse your heart. I just want to thank you very much. Thank you very much for being here. Thanks everyone who watches these. You can stay in touch. You'll find me on Twitter @Rasheed Ogunlaru. You'll find me on Instagram @Rasheed Ogunlaru. Oh, and the last thing I wanted to say, those of you who are your own boss, feel free to check out the soul-trader.biz website, which has been relaunched. And it's packed full of stuff to help you on this journey of being your own boss. And I'm mindful that many of you are, or perhaps a number of you are having to think about it because of what's changing in our economy. And there's a free stuff area with all sorts of free resources, including my 2-page business plan, which is listed in the book, and some other a series of podcasts I recorded a number of years ago to help you. They're called the Business Liftoff series. A number of podcasts to help you on that journey of starting up your business. There's also a Coach Yourself course. It's a video course with me prompting you, helping you on that particular journey, which is an inexpensive course just to help you on that journey. There's a £79 version where you can just stream it online and watch it, and there's also a £99 version where you can have that copy, you can download it as well as to stream that, and it just takes you through the book chapter by chapter, but with prompts and other tools to coach you. So I'm there coaching you through this journey so that you can coach yourself. Because I'm very mindful that when I started my journey, I had limited finances and limited resources. So I had to do what I could to coach myself. Fortunately, I was a coach by that time, so I was sharing various different tips and tools and guiding you through things that you can coach yourself step by step, and so you can return to each chapter along that way. But you can also find all the podcasts there that are free and all sorts of stuff, and you can download chapter 1 of Soul Trader for free. So if you're on that journey, or if you know others are, Soul-Trader, soul-trader.biz, and they will help you. That's it from me for today. I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for being you. I hope that you stay safe and well, and please, please, please walk with kindness and compassion. Take good care with love from me, Rasheed. See you soon. Bye-bye.